Welcome to part one of Nourished Mom Life 101. We're talking about food today, and there's something in here for everybody. Whether you're a mom who relies on coffee to get you to lunch, or you're somebody living off your kids' scraps, or you've been relying on takeout for the past 2 weeks and you're feeling like you're supposed to be cooking for your family. Okay, first, I want to talk to the mamas out there who are living on their kids' leftovers as their main source of nutrition. Look, I get it. You're exhausted, your brain power is limited. Trying to figure out how to make a healthy, balanced meal for yourself out of what's in the fridge is mental gymnastics that you just don't have the energy for. Not to mention that your kids are needy AF when they're at the table. That is, if they stay at the table. And you know they're not going to finish their plates anyway, so you don't want it to go to waste. But girlfriend, you got to eat something. I know you need something that is easy, simple, and nutritious. So let me tell you about my PFF method as a guide for building your meals. Because honestly, I know that you think the less you eat, the faster you lose weight. But what that actually does is stunts your metabolism, puts your body in survival mode, and sets you up for that 3 p.m. crash. Eating by the PFF method is going to give you so much better energy. I know that some of us are not sleeping through the night, and energy is something you desperately need. Not to mention, eating this way will keep you full and satisfied for longer. So, what's the deal with PFF? The acronym stands for protein, fat, and fiber. I want to tell you how combining these foods in your meals and snacks will make a huge difference in your energy and give your metabolism that boost we're all looking for. In the simplest terms, what do these types of foods do for you? Protein gives you energy. Fat keeps you full and satisfied for longer. Fiber does something similar. It takes longer to break down, so it will help you stay full longer. And it also keeps you regular and helps you absorb nutrients better. Let me give you a few examples of what that looks like. Start with a yogurt and then add apples and peanut butter, and you've hit all three. You get protein in the yogurt and fat from peanut butter and fiber from apples. If you're someone that likes to go the protein shake route, you can add avocado or peanut butter to get your fat in, depending on the flavor. And then if you want to get all three in, you can add spinach too. Now, spinach and avocado don't add a ton of taste, and I find they go really well in like a vanilla base with fruit. But if you don't want to add anything, you just want to do your shake, you can always add a piece of fruit on the side or bell peppers or snap peas. Any fresh produce will check off the fiber box for you. Then you add something like a cheese stick or nuts for fat. That is the gist of the magic of PFF and how it is going to make you stay full longer, how you get that energy and you're fueling your system more consistently, and that is going to boost your metabolism. But how does this solve the overwhelm that comes along with mealtime? Once you have the PF method, you have those categories you need to hit, and it becomes second nature to add them to your grocery list. To make it easy at first, put a note in your phone or on your fridge. That worked really well for one of my clients. She had a go-to list of snacks inside her pantry so that grabbing something that fit her goals and gave her energy was a no-brainer. I also want to go back to a couple things I mentioned in the beginning of the video that tend to happen, especially for moms who are so busy taking care of everybody else. A lot of times, this means making it to noon on just coffee or eating as little as possible, and both of those are going to set you up to be exhausted, have low energy, be crabby, and your patience is going to be super thin. You spend the day trying to keep up with your kids who are going a million miles an hour, but you are struggling. Another super common struggle is getting stuck in the routine of getting takeout often. So either way with those, you're not cooking much or at all. But I know that you really care about the food that you're giving to your kids. This might be making you feel guilty. You want to be cooking more for your family. You want to be putting healthier food on the table, but you're struggling to find a food that everybody likes. And you feel like you have to cook all the time. Cooking can definitely be overwhelming, especially taking into account the tastes of your children or your partner. But this is something I really love helping my clients with during a Mealtime Magic Intensive, where we play around with every little detail of this, starting with grocery shopping, when you're going to make the list, when you're going to go, all the way to the meals you're having and when you're cooking. It doesn't just have to be a one-time thing, though. We can bring the magic into your mom wellness program too. So, if our call that week is centered around menu planning, you're going to end the call with your grocery list made. You'll know when you're cooking, what you're cooking, and every little detail so a tantrum or a sleepless night doesn't throw you off track. If that's a little too much right now and you're feeling overwhelmed, here's an alternative focus. That is the concept of crowding out. I really like because it takes the pressure off. So many food plans or any diet I've ever been on has you cut things out and makes you feel deprived, frustrated, and confused about what you're supposed to eat. This is the opposite of that. Crowding out wants you to add in all the things you know are going to make you feel good, the foods that are going to help you feel full. You're going to add in those things that have extra nutrients that get your energy up for when you're exhausted. And as you go through this process of adding more things in, it means you are optimally fueled and leaves less room for things that aren't serving your goals or not making you feel good. I feel like the concept of crowding out makes a little more sense with a concrete example. It was a really easy switch for one of my clients when she was trying to stop drinking soda. So when we were having a conversation about it, we made a plan for her, but that did not touch the amount of soda she was drinking. We just started in adding more bottles of water, and eventually there was less room for the Diet Coke. I hope that example was helpful in seeing how when you add something in instead of focusing on what you're taking away, it changes your mindset and leaves your options open instead of restricting. In the interest of incorporating crowding out, I want you to take a minute and brainstorm 1 or 2 PFF snacks that you can try this week from things you already have or things you're going to get at the grocery store. Feel free to message me on Instagram at nourished.mom.life. I'll link my account below. And I can give you feedback on what you came up with if you're stuck on that third food to hit all the categories. I'd love to help you figure that out. The last thing I want to touch on today is the pressure that a lot of people feel to cook at home all the time and how to break out of that cycle if you're feeling overwhelmed and you turn to takeout. Maybe it's because it's the time, it's the convenience, it's the preference of your kids, it's your motivation, you're feeling overwhelmed about cooking for everyone. Let's take my triple S method, just slow, steady, and sustainable, and get you cooking a few meals a week. What does this look like? This looks like taking a few minutes to look at your calendar and see what days it makes sense for you to cook at home. I don't want you setting these unrealistic expectations. For my family, Thursdays are not a good day to cook. It's work, some lessons, home for a quick dinner, and then bath and bed. That's a day where I'm relying on things out of the freezer or we'll have something in the crock pot. I know it's not a good day to cook. Think about the days when you're home in the evenings. Maybe it's on the weekends or the days your kids don't have after school commitments during the week. Those would be great days to start implementing these cook at home nights. If cooking an entire meal feels like too much, you can rely on fast sides with a home cooked main dish, or maybe your main dish is a frozen option and you prepare some fresh side dishes. What we're doing here is ditching the all or nothing. And that is where people get frustrated. They say, no more takeout, we're cooking at home every night. You get burnt out, you get decision fatigue, and it's not fun and enjoyable. You end up just going through the motions. It's another stressor to add to your plate, which is the last thing you need. But if you bring in the triple S method, then you can pick a couple nights a week to cook, and the rest of the night you can do whatever you normally do. This also very nicely pulls in the idea of crowding out. The more nights we cook at home, the less room there is for takeout, the better you're going to feel about what you're serving to your family. If you would like a personalized approach to PFF so we can customize your family's nutrition and meal plan, head to the link below to schedule your Mealtime Magic Intensive. And in part 2, we're talking all things movement and exercise in a way that won't stress you out and that you can do with your kids.